Outside the context of the recent COVID-19 pandemic, virtually nothing is understandable today other than Americans' sour mood. Pandemics are events of extraordinary disruption. Just listen to a survivor of the Spanish flu pandemic of 1918.
The crisis came within the first 2 to 3 hours of your sickness. You either survived or you were dead.
The 1918 pandemic was followed by the Roaring Twenties, the decade famous for discarding earlier restraints on personal behavior. In contrast, our Roaring Twenties came before the pandemic. Our next decade may be an age of sobriety.
It is clear that evidence is stacking up in favor of the lab leak hypothesis, and for 2 years, anyone who said that was called a conspiracy theorist and in some cases a racist.
After 10 years of free money, high inflation kicked in. That alone sobered up many, but the remedy, high interest rates, has sobered up many more. Chasing tax revenue, some states have legalized recreational marijuana, and New York City opened its first licensed pot dispensary.
Let's give a round of applause for the first sale!
Taking to Twitter, Governor Kathy Hochul hailed the move as an historic milestone that solidifies New York as a national model for building an industry that's equitable and inclusive. But since then, locals have started pushing back. Some are worried about the message a street dispensary sends their kids. Others say it will attract undesirables to an area struggling with crime. Even efforts in New York to defund the police are getting resistance, and no surprise. As in Chicago, news reports of constant shootings and stabbings are sobering enough. But even some progressives can no longer ignore the public's cries for more neighborhood cops. In Chicago, according to state data, in nearly 10% of public schools, not one student could do math or read at grade level.
It's sad, but I'm not surprised. We definitely have to do a better job with raising up our next generation.
There is light at the end of the school's tunnel. Since January alone, Utah and Iowa have enacted school choice legislation, with bills pending in Arkansas and Oklahoma. In no small part because of pressure from parents disgusted by the damage done to their children when teachers' unions forced the closure of public schools during the pandemic.
It's what makes you such a powerful leader here at AFT. So thank you for your friendship. Thank you for caring. Thank you for putting this organization first every single day.
But history also shows that eventually a democratic system self-corrects, as seems to be happening in Chicago.
I've called Brandon Johnson and Paul Vallis to congratulate them on their victories in advancing to the runoffs.
Finally, let's take the new American sobriety straight to the top, presidential politics. What a telling commentary that the self-described progressive Democrats can't find a way past Joe Biden. While the Republican conversation of the past few weeks includes Nikki Haley, Tim Scott, and entrepreneur Vivek Ramaswamy, diversity's definition is getting a rewrite.